Alright, we are on the play here in match 3 with Rug Delver. That's a keep. We're gonna fetch out a Steam Vents. Just in case the opponent's on an aggro deck, that way we don't have to shock, fetch, shock to deal with a 1-drop. Fetch, shock, get a Steam Vents, play a Delver, turn 2, the world is our oyster at that point. Look at the options. Visions, Visions, Visions Bolt, Visions Dismember, Bolt Dismember. Or we play Breeding Pool tapped and only cast 1 spell. We could do anything. Definitely one of the draws to playing decks like Delver is you have a bunch of 1-drops. You can do a lot of stuff in a lot of combinations, which is one of the things that leads to this deck having so many decisions. Sleight of hand, gonna say we're probably up against Storm. Makes me want to use a bunch of cantrips right here. Misty Rainforest, not gonna reveal that. We will fetch out an island though. Want to make these Steam Vents, these Serum Visions as best they can be. Alright, Stubborn Denial, not going to be fantastic. Mishra's Bauble, something I wouldn't mind drawing. And I don't expect to need to bolt anything immediately, so let's get this out of our hand. Bottom, top, because I absolutely want another clock. Play out the Bauble. We're not going to crack it just yet, just in case I'm wrong and the opponent is playing some kind of sleight of hand mid-range deck, because I don't want them to take away our Tarmogoyf if they happen to be playing Thoughtseize for whatever weird reason. There's a chance. Drawing Tarmogoyf doesn't do all that much for me right now. Spire Bluff Canal and Grape Shot. Yeah, that's fine. I have a Tarmogoyf coming. Bauble, take a look at your top card. It's a Steam Vents. Fantastic. Draw Goyf. Draw again. Now I'm not going to cast the Serum Visions because I would very much like to have Disruption available in case they have a cost reducer. Actually, we have a lot of reach in our hand. Simic Charm and Bolt. Electromancer is fine. Steam Vents, are they paying shock? They are. Ooh, that's exciting. Manamorphose. Let's take out Electromancer with that on the stack. How low do we want to go? I imagine I'd rather get Dismember out of my hand, just because Lightning Bolt's a little more valuable. It can go face. Dismember cannot go face. On the other hand, 10 is a little low. Fetch, shock, shock, fetch, dismember. 10 points. All us. The opponent has been very generous and did not harm our life total whatsoever. We're going to lead on Visions. Mana Leak, absolutely something I want. Delver, probably unnecessary at this point. In. And I think I would rather take out Baral than hold up Scour, draw Mana Leak, cast Mana Leak. The downside is the opponent might have a Gifts. If we take out Baral and they go land Gifts, we might be in trouble. But in that case, we get to go Scour, hopefully grow Tarmogoyf. Is it even possible to grow Tarmogoyf? Tarfire is the last thing that could do it. Actually, they're at 11. This is a 5-6, and this is 6 points, so that's fine. Oh, but it's not fine if we bolt Baral. Then we don't have lethal. That makes me almost want to go for the Mana Leak side of things, but that's bad if they don't immediately go for Gifts. Because if they start trying to storm off, Mana Leak looks really bad. Let's bolt this. Probably better to be safe than sorry. Sleight of hand, that's fine. This Thought Scour is actually a little awkward because I kind of want to get it out of my hand right now. Given that they're probably not going for anything here, we'll definitely want to use it on the end step if we have the option, which we do now. So we could scour the opponent to draw Mana Leak, which is something. Or we could just Simic Charm that Brawl, put it back in their hand, slow them down a little bit, draw Mana Leak naturally. That doesn't seem so bad. Bounce effect, not very good against Storm, unfortunately. Think I want to scour now. Now that we already drew the Mana Leak, I don't mind scouring myself. This is interesting. We drew Tarfire. Do we need to Tarfire the opponent now? If we do, they go to 9. Goyf knocks them down to 3. If we don't, we know they have Baral, so we're not Tarfiring that. What good can we do with this Tarfire? Not all that much. I'd rather have the extra point, just in case they storm off just enough to take out Tarmogoyf, and then Bolt's lethal. Having 2 mana available instead of 3, not very relevant because the opponent's interaction of choice would be Remand, which means if we try to Mana Leak something, they Remand Mana Leak. Even if we don't cast Tarfire, we can't put Mana Leak back on the stack. So we may as well get the Tarfire done there. We're going to Mana Leak this though. If they have Remand, they tap out. They might still be able to cobble something up with a land drop. But at the same time, we're gonna force the opponent's hand, basically. Ooh, Spire Bluff Canal's downside seeing play there. If that was an island, maybe even a Steam Vents, they would have had 1 mana available with a Brawl out. As is, we're going to swing in for 6, and they're probably going to chump. We drew a Stubborn Denial, which is extremely good. At this point, I think our decisions are making themselves. The opponents, too, to an extent, they can't not block there. They could theoretically block, and if they had Apostle's Blessing, pay 2 life, go to 1, give Baral pro green, untap, draw, and hope they can go off. But that would still be pretty hard. Goblin Electromancer we cannot counter. The opponent with plenty of mana. If anything, we would want to choke them on cards at this point, so I could actually see countering a cantrip. Although, given that we have Stubborn Denial, I would probably just save it for, say, Gifts Ungiven, Past in Flame, something like that. 3 blue mana for the Gifts Ungiven. Speak of the devil, he shall appear, yada yada yada. I know I say it a lot, but it's true. Oh, cool. They had a chance, I think. I think they had a chance. I don't actually know. Anyways, let's head into game 2. What are we going to do against Storm? What do I normally do against Storm? I probably should have updated the sideboard spreadsheet before changing up a few cards and hopping into a league, but I gotta say, I was lazy and I just wanted to play some Magic. I'll probably get to that after. Updating the spreadsheet, that is. Knuckleblade's a bit slow. Don't know if I want to waste time with Traverse, but on the other hand, we don't have the Mountain to bring in. That's one of the main things that I probably should have addressed when I changed up the sideboard, when I changed up the list. Not having the Mountain in the sideboard can change a lot of things. Maybe Traverse shouldn't be coming out. What normally comes in against Storm? Pyroclasm, EE, Flash Freeze. Flash Freeze, Pyroclasm, EE. Kozilek's Return doesn't seem very relevant unless we happen to draw it off of a bauble and the instant speed becomes relevant because it's the opponent's turn and they went off with Empty the Warrens the previous turn. But that's a lot of stuff to go right to want to have a 3-mana sweeper against Storm. Now, I don't have Disrupting Shoal in the main deck anymore, which normally comes out. So instead of taking out Disrupting Shoal and bringing in Mountain, that's basically what happened. We didn't take out Disrupting Shoal, and we didn't take out Mountain. We took out 3 cards we brought in 3 cards we normally do, took out 3 cards we normally do. Seems fine. I still don't know if I want to cut this Traverse, but I'm willing to at least try it. I could see Snapcaster Mage coming out in its stead. Thought Scour's definitely not going anywhere. Don't want to cut counter spells against Storm. Also don't want to cut burn spells. Simic Charm I could see going, but it has a lot of uses. Can save your board against a Grape Shot. And save Delvers from bolts out of the sideboard. That's something. It can act as a bolt in and of itself. In the previous game, it bounced something to slow the opponent down. It's probably better than the second Traverse. Oh, we finished first. Look at us go. That happens like once every 1,000 years. Spreading Seas is definitely going to be bad against Storm. We should watch out for Blood Moon. That's definitely something the opponent will probably... Good job, Self. That's probably something the opponent's going to want to be doing. Blood Mooning us out of the game, that's a Storm thing, right? Basic Island's going to make our lives a lot easier on that front. Still looking at turn 1 Delver. Maybe even with the Steam Vents. That way they don't know that we have the Basic Island. Maybe they overextend some rituals into a Blood Moon that ends up actually not being very good. On the other hand, we don't have a green source that we would be able to use under Blood Moon, but we also don't have any green threats or green cards whatsoever now that Simic Charm's in the deck, and Traverse. The opponent with a land and a pass, so no early cantrip. Or maybe Sleight of Hand? No, okay. Bolt. That's actually fantastic. Let's shock and get Delver out there. Bolt is noticeably better than Forked Bolt in most cases in this matchup, because Lightning Bolt kills Baral while Forked Bolt does not. Forked Bolt has at least a non-zero edge in the scenarios where the opponent's going off with Empty the Warrens, because sometimes you just need to take out a second Goblin token. Tarfire obviously is tribal and has an edge there in some cases. Forked Bolt also being a sorcery is a downside. Usually I'd rather have Lightning Bolt than either of the others in this matchup, but I mean we're already playing 4 bolts, so everyone already knew that. That's not news. The opponent with no cost reducer yet. Wooded Foothills. I actually kind of want to play that, just in case Blood Moon. On the other hand, Island Serum Visions? If we fetch out a forest and then go Serum Visions, we're not doing anything else, which is at least somewhat dangerous. We could actually go Wooded Foothills pass in case they try to interact with one of our burn spells. That's something. I want to be a little wary of them going cost reducer, we try to take it out, and then they remand our burn spell, but I guess they can't go off over top of that without a lot of rituals, so that's probably null and void. Island, Serum Visions, Hold Up, Lightning Bolt, and Stubborn Denial. That's not bad. I do kind of want to get this out of my hand. I think I'd rather do this first, though. Wooded Foothills really only takes priority if we're expecting Blood Moon. And I imagine if the opponent had Blood Moon and a ritual, they would have done it previously. So, well, they play a lot of rituals. 8, I believe. 4 Desperate, 4 Pyretic. I believe that's correct. So, the chances of them having a Blood Moon probably aren't as high as the chances of them not having a Blood Moon. So I think Wooded Foothills is a lot less important, and I don't really like going all out on that front. Putting Goyf on top is going to slow our clock down a bit, but it's also going to make our clock a little more resilient and kind of speed it up in a way. So I'm pretty okay with that, I think. The opponent is probably thinking about stuff. That or they're AFK. I'm going to assume they're thinking about stuff because they do have mana up. I just want to get in for one. The nice thing about the opponent only having 2 mana up currently is next turn they make a land drop, they play Baral, and then... Ooh, Peer Through Depths. I forgot they run a non-zero amount of this. Do I want to take this out? We can denial this. How good is that? If we denial it, we're kind of at the mercy of better things. At least they only get 1 card, but that's really good selection. I'm going to wait to fight my battles. Could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong, given that they haven't played a cost reducer yet. Serum Visions, let's mark that off. I like knowing what the opponent has. And actually, they have a lot of stuff. Land for the opponent. We have a lot of stuff too, though. And soon enough, we're going to have a Goyf with Ferocious Denials. What do we have? It's Pieces of the Puzzle. That one we're definitely going to counter. For one, they get 2 cards. And for the second thing, we can counter this without worrying about the opponent untapping and then doing bad things. So that's pretty safe. Untap, don't reveal. They're going to see it shortly anyways, but that's besides the point. Let's use this. Get the basic forest. Make sure Blood Moon's not scary. We may as well. Hold up the steam vents. In for 1. And if we get through one more turn, we're probably in a good spot, knock on wood. We can only cast 1 of these burn spells per turn, and that is definitely a downside if the opponent has, say, Baral, Remand, and other awful things. But that might be okay. If this is a Gifts, I'll be pretty happy. It's a Blood Moon. I'm actually going to let that resolve. That really doesn't scare me. Serum Visions, that's fine too. Let's get rid of it. The opponent is just setting up. They can cast 2 blue spells a turn. We can cast 2 blue spells a turn. Of course, they don't know that. Also, we naturally drew both islands, which is definitely a point of this being a game for variance. Another Foothills, really? Come on, Delver, work with me here. Let's get in for 4. And I don't think I'm going to run out a Forked Bolt here. Actually, maybe I should have let on the Foothills so we could cast Bolt a second time in case they have Remand. That might have been better. I was thinking second blue mana, favor the Stubborn Denial, but that might not have been a good idea. 1 mana, 2 mana, Electromancer. On the other hand, we can just denial Remand, so that's probably fine. We're going to fight Manamorphose on the Do I counter Manamorphose? Maybe, we'll see. Oh, they can't chain any rituals! They're out of red mana. That's excellent. I think I'm going to let that resolve now. If they had more red mana, I would have probably been much more scared of... well, actually, not of anything in particular that was on the stack, just the situation overall. Steam, leave us alone. I don't even know why it tells you have things in your library. What does that mean? Your Steam... No, Steam inventory. They're going to make red mana. That's fine. I think. Do I want to choke them here? I don't know. If we choke this, they untap. There's not that many things they can do on their next turn that are scary. If we let this resolve, they might chain a bunch of rituals, and that could be bad. think I want to fight it. So anyways, them not having red mana up doesn't really change how we play there, I don't think, but it makes me a lot happier, because oftentimes when an opponent goes to combo off with their cost reducer and then you try to take it out, they'll ritual a bunch of times on the stack. When did we bobble? Oh, we didn't. Mishra's bobble was revealed. Okay. I was so confused. So very confused. I thought MTGO, I almost called it Modo. I thought MTGO was glitching hard, and somehow it put a bobble trigger on the stack. And that obviously wouldn't have been right. But anyways, we have lethal with this Forked Bolt. Hopefully things are going to work out well. Glad the opponent wasn't able to chain a bunch of rituals with our bolt on the stack, because they didn't have red mana up at the time. Hopefully they don't go off here. We're out of disruption. Unless they just have an Electromancer. We could take that out. Maybe I should have cracked the bauble immediately. That could have drawn us into a counterspell. That might have been the right play. On the other hand, not doing it helps us transform Delver more easily, but that's only relevant if the opponent grape shots with enough to take out, say, Tarmogoyf. So I think I should have bobbled looking for a counterspell. That probably would have been better. Waiting on the opponent again. They have 3 cards, about to draw a 4th, 4 lands available. Blood Moon doing a lot of nothing. If anything, it's probably hurting them more than us. Cutting them off of blue, they can't chain a bunch of cantrips. That's something Storm conceivably might want to do. It's probably not relevant, but it could be. Blue mana is often how they end up being choked when they're casting a bunch of rituals, but they would probably end up having to use those dual lands for red mana anyways in order to cast said ritual, so I guess that's moot. 2 mana, what do we got? Manamorphose, that's going to resolve. Nothing we can do at this point. We're just going to see if the opponent has it. Hopefully they don't, but they might. 17's a lot of life for Storm to overcome, but you know what? It's entirely possible. Why did they tap so much? They had 4 mana, right? I thought they had 4 mana up. They Manamorphosed, and then they used the Manamorphose mana to cast Peer Through Depths. But why did they tap 2 lands? And why don't they have mana in their pool if they did tap those 2 lands? And why isn't the Storm counter updated? 3 mana in pool. How did that happen? This Pyretic, I guess? Maybe Moto just didn't want to show us right away? Storm count still is invisible, so that's something. There we go. Many rituals. Manamorphose, yup. They're digging. They might get there. More power to them if they do. All they need is 1 more ritual and a Past in Flames to really get going. Then we're probably dead. Knock on wood again. I do that a lot. Still, I think the EV of knocking on wood is pretty high. Visions, can they find something? Looks like they found the Baral off the Manamorphose, because otherwise they would have played that Baral much sooner to save a bunch of mana on these rituals. They probably would have had around 3 or 4 mana extra by playing the Baral earlier, so chances are they just got it. 1 card left in hand, what is it? Actually, transforming the Delver looks really relevant here. Baral's going to be able to block Goyf. Let's take a look at what we have. It's another Goyf. Delver trigger hits the stack first. Let's draw. Take a look. It's... wait for it. Wait for it. It's a Steam Vents. Alright, well, we have a 5/6. Pretty sure we actually swing with Delver here. Just because they're pretty locked into blocking Tarmogoyf. And I also think we play another Tar... oh, we can play this for free because no shock. Not having to pay shock is probably one of my favorite hobbies. Do I forked bolt? Probably not. It might come up that they end up using Empty the Warrens. And we have plenty of red mana, so maybe, just maybe, holding on to it matters, and it doesn't. 2-0 against Storm, that's what I like to see. Thank you all for watching, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.